Hello again, I'm Ernest Mino. Let's settle for the details now. Those who recovered and discharged are free and unable to transmit the virus. These are the comments made by the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Abuaje, in today's briefing on COVID-19 case management. Dr. Abuaje also urged Ghanaians to stop stigmatizing recovered patients because they no longer carry the virus and therefore cannot infect other persons.
The key highlights of the protocol is that for symptomatic cases, that's for those who are sick, who report with symptoms, cough, fever, etc. They spend 14 days plus 3 days without symptoms. So we are looking more about 17 days. But of course, if you stand longer, that if your symptoms continue, we will keep you until you are no more. You are able to show 3 days without symptoms, and you will be discharged without a test. For those who do not have symptoms, it's 14 days after initial positive test. And that should be based on the day the sample is taken, not the day you got your results. So that's when we count the necessary. So like we said, TR test is no longer necessary. The patients will be reviewed at home to see whether they are discharged and finally discharged, not necessarily from our facility or from the cell, but these are all areas that we may want to look at. Currently, recovery rate stands about 75%, and the cumulative recovery rate stands 10,907 cases. So, if you look at that, Ashanti has recorded about 66% of all their cases has recovered. Bono has 33% recovery because they didn't start getting cases, got a few recent cases. Bono is 48%. Central region has about 83% of all their cases have recovered and discharged. Eastern region 56%. Greater Accra 77%. That is accounting for the last number. Northern region, all their cases have recovered 100%. Northeast is 67%, because they just had a recent one. OT about 30%. Savannah 100%. Upper East 8% because they are still waiting for the last few, but I'm sure within the next few days, those asymptomatic will be discharged. What I would like to say to all is that please, those who are recovered and discharged are free and they are not able to transmit the virus to anybody. So people should receive them and be sure that they are out there and not create any stigma for them. They are free. We isolate people because they can transmit to somebody else. We only release people who are unable to transmit the virus to another person.
Now, the Ghana Health Service said it is continuing to increase hospital capacity countrywide to take care of case management for COVID-19, as Ghana recorded 440 new cases from 25 districts in 3 regions. Minister for Information, Kojo Nkrumah, also said they are engaging the police on how to implement the mandatory wearing of face masks. We'll hear from him shortly, but first, let's listen to the Director of Public Affairs for the Ghana Police Service, Sheila Abeye Bachman. She spoke on COVID and the law with Samson Ladia Yenini.
Ernest is very, very wrong, because the law does not give an exemption of being in a car and having rolled up or having your mask hanging by you. The law says a person shall. And so if you're found in a public place, so Ernest thinks that he's in his private car. So perhaps the private car is not a public place. But from the narration, I get it that Ernest was driving, because he says, I was driving.
Yes.
Now let's look at 1B of the law. It says leaving or returning to your place of abode. So once you are driving, you would be leaving or returning. In fact, if you go to the definition of public place, we are defining public place in the context of the criminal Offences Act,
okay.
The Criminal and Other Offences Act 29. In Section 1, the definition section, we have public place defined. And it includes a public way, which will be the road that he is also driving on. So you may be in your vehicle, AC rolled up, alone, no possibility of contact. But this law is very strict. If you have any defense, please save it for the courts. When you are arrested and you are taken to court, you may raise your defense there, and it is up to the judge to use whatever laws applicable to decide. But as for us police officers, we will arrest you once you fall within this provision. If you are in a public place, and I'm sure through the discussion we will come out with all the circumstances of public place,
okay.
Or if you are leaving or returning to your place of abode.
We can now hear from the Information Minister, Kojo Nkrumah, who said the police is being engaged to apply a more purposive interpretation to EI 164.
The objective of EI 164 is to compel all persons within public places and who are in contact with others to wear a face covering, like what I'm wearing this morning. This is necessary to curb the rate at which a positive person who has the ability to infect others, as we are being educated, can spread the virus. That's the objective of the lawmaker. Now, generally what we expect is compliance from the public for the greater public good. Because you may not know, if you haven't been tested and proven positive within a particular window, you may not even know that you are a positive person who can infect other persons. And so the objective is that as the majority or as the entire public going out into public places wears a face covering, we'll be able to curb the rate at which, if somebody is positive and is infectious, can be passing it on to others. Now, we acknowledge a big area in the law which has got to do with individuals who are in their private cars by themselves. And we also acknowledge that there's a very strict interpretation that the police intend to give to such scenarios, looking at the text of the law. The lawyers will tell you that there are those who do what they call the literalist interpretation, and then there are those who also do purposive interpretation. Today the courts even use what they call the modern purposive approach. So what government is doing is engaging with the police to give the EI a purposive interpretation when applying it. And as I mentioned, the purpose or the objective is to compel all persons within public places and in contact with others to wear face covering so that we can curb the rate of transmission. And so engagements have started with the police so that they can give it a more purposeful approach. Those will be our remarks on this particular matter.
Still on COVID-19, the Ghana COVID-19 Private Sector Fund has launched a crowdfunding initiative to raise money to complete its flagship project, a 100-bed infectious disease isolation and treatment facility at the East Hospital in Accra. Work on the facility began in mid-April after President Akufo-Addo broke grounds for work to start. With just 2 weeks to the official opening of the facility, the fund says it is faced with a funding gap of $7.1 million. Senor Hosi is managing trustee of the fund.
With respect to the fund administration systems, it's a very transparent and open fund management system we actually have here. The fund manager is not the trustees. The fund manager is a regulated institution, Stanlib, and Stanlib is a subsidiary of Stanbic Bank. We have fund custodians, and that's Fidelity Bank and Ecobank. and the funds and its expenditure and project expenditure are run by KPMG. So KPMG are the funds project accountants. So directly we do not really administer it as trustees. Our job is to actually give strategic guidance to every single PESWA is accounted for, will be accounted for, and we would encourage donors at any point in time to support this. We've commenced a project which we call the 10 Ghana Challenge, which seeks to raise crowdfunding from the general public to help complete this project. After the donation we have right now, we currently have about a 6.5 million cedi funding shortfall, and we still have possibly about 2 weeks to go to the completion of the project. And we need to raise that funding in between time. But we trust that the good people of Ghana, anybody who can get to contribute anything, just dial *718 *25 *219 hash and donate 10 Ghana cedis or more.
So the funding gap is in cedis and not in dollars. Meanwhile, a private firm, CH Group Limited, has donated $100,000 to the Ghana COVID-19 Private Sector Fund, presenting the check to Management Group COO Cynthia Darko, called on other private firms to emulate the gesture, adding governments cannot win the fight against COVID-19 alone.
CH Group Limited is a holding company with subsidiaries that operate in real estate, oil and gas. We came here today representing our foundation. At this point in our country's history where we are going through a pandemic, to have the private sector take up the initiative of developing a 100-bed facility dedicated to the treatment of infectious diseases. We thought that this was a noble cause. As an organization, we've been involved in a lot of CSR initiatives over the years. We've done quite a lot in terms of giving back to the community. We think that this project transcends COVID-19. To have a dedicated facility that can take care of any infectious diseases that will come in today and later on in the future, we know that it's a good thing. Anything that transcends generations is something that we would want to be a part of. And I'd like to commend the private sector for taking this initiative.
You may now be required to pay to watch digital television. That's if the NCA goes ahead with a new policy it intends to roll out. This comes in the wake of a unanimous decision by the Supreme Court that dismissed the case filed by the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association challenging the new system, which was to be implemented by June this year, but was deferred. Now, court correspondent Joseph Kable interacted with Gary Nimakon, his lawyer for the NCA.
When they filed this case in respect of claiming that the policy of the Ministry of Communication trying to introduce a conditional access system is curtailing freedom of expression or that they are right to broadcast. We have told them from day one that position is wrong in law, because at the end of the day, even if that policy itself is even anything to talk about, it has not been implemented. It's not been carried into effect. You understand what I'm saying? So the action itself from day one has been premature. We told them from day one that the case is premature and they won't listen to us. And the court has affirmed our position that the action is premature. So that, I think, should be it. In any event, this issue about conditional access system, what is it about? It's a thinking through that government is doing to say, look, let's find a very nice way, a very refined way going into the future, all right, to introduce a system whereby television viewers, can pay TV licenses. You get what I'm saying? So at least to even raise revenue for government in one way or the other. It has got nothing to do with the content of broadcasters, with your content, nothing at all. So we don't even see the complaint of Giba in this matter. So clearly, there's a lot of misinformation out there that once that policy is introduced, government intends to fetter with the right to broadcast, and that is not correct. That's not correct. So the court agreed with us, and I think that the action is premature, so it's been thrown away.
The court made the point that you are very scheduled to implement it by end of year. Are we to understand that?
You see, it is not about rescheduling it per se. You see, there's a global trend that now no longer analog system is going to be in operation. I believe you are aware. and now they're all going digital. So it's a global trend, and the global trend, Ghana is not out of the world. We are part of the global community. So the analog system is fading away. What is going to happen is the digital migration, and it's going to happen. But without it, we can't even view television in this country. You understand? And we have already gone in to sign all the documents out there. So I don't really see the big deal. For instance, if you are a DSTV a subscriber and you have paid your subscription fees, can't you watch your program? Okay. Now this one, government is simply saying that for the indigents, people who obviously cannot even pay, they put them on a certain, what do you call it, on a certain lifeline. If you cannot pay and you are indigent, you can still view, but you are viewing digital. And the digital is giving you access, universal access across the whole country, everywhere in Ghana. No longer analog. Universal access everywhere in Ghana you can view. So really, I don't see the complaint of Giba.
Thanks for staying with us here on News Today. It's now time for the latest in the world of business, and Sandra joins us from home. Hello, Sandra. What do you have in the headlines?
Hi, Ernest. Good afternoon. We're talking about the cocoa syndication. If you remember yesterday, some banks that were supposed to finance cocoa board for the next crop season backed out of the process. But we've been hearing from some analysts who are not so happy with the outcome.
Bring us the details.
All right, welcome to business. Welcome to business. My name is Sandra S. and I'm doing this from home. An investment analyst, Mike Kobler, has described the decision by some international banks to ditch cocoa loan syndication as a sabotage. This follows a decision by some international banks that have promised to finance purchase of cocoa beans for the next crop season to back out on the promise, attributing it to the impact of the coronavirus pandemic. But Mike Kobler tells Joy's Business is not convinced with this argument.
My own reckoning is that because Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana came together and said they were going to process a certain quantity, about 50% of the raw bean, before it is shipped out to enhance the kind of revenue or income we make out of it. This is some kind of sabotage coming at the back of that. And I'm not surprised.
That we are being punished, our plan setting of prices and even producing some locally.
Yes, I mean, without a shadow of doubt. I mean, obviously, once we enhance the raw materials into semi-finished goods, the prices goes up, and it is not to their advantage. So there's always been a calculated attempt to ensure that we stay where we are and become net exporters of raw materials, which does not have any value addition. So at the end of the day, we are short-changed as a country, because then once we export raw materials, we don't get the benefit of the value addition. And sometimes the price differential can be as much as 10 times, what we receive for the raw materials. And it does not inure to the benefit of the economy.
The travel and tour company Adansi Travel Limited has revealed that 46% of Ghanaians want to travel out of the country to various destinations within the next 6 months, according to the survey conducted by the company to gauge people's eagerness to move beyond the country's borders. 86% out of the over 500 sample size on social media want to travel within the next 6 to 12 months. Marketing manager of Adansi Travels is Sewa Boatibene.
Before COVID-19 got into the system, we had planned for a whole year's trip. We had local trips and we had international trips from January through to December 2020. We had to cancel all of these trips. We also have cancelled incoming tours. We had students coming in from Indiana University and they had to cancel. And that was a huge amount of money they were bringing into our economy, about $100,000 and
That's
all of that. Apart from that, it's also our staff.
That's quite a lot. Did you have to make some refund?
Well, yes, we had to refund the deposit they made for the trip. I mean, they were coming to stay in hotels, they were coming to use rent buses. They were coming to eat in our local restaurants. So it's not just us. A lot of the industry, the hospitality industry, would have benefited from that incoming trip to Ghana.
Yes, go ahead, please.
As staff, we had to cut down on salaries. There is 19 of us, and we had to cut up to about 55% of salaries. But in general, most of our clients are waiting to travel when it's safe. Survey we did a few weeks ago, we asked clients how soon they wanted to travel. And the feedback, 46% of them said that within 6 months, if it is safe, they are ready to travel. 40% said that between 6 and 12 months, they will travel. 14% of them said that they will travel late 2021. And as I said earlier, over 2,000 of our clients, people that had already traveled with us, also want to travel when it is safe. We are aware that most countries are relaxing the restrictions on the COVID lockdowns. Dubai is opening up on the 7th to tourists. They have sent out guidelines on how to keep the tourists safe. And so we are monitoring all this around the world, including in Ghana here when it's safe and the airports are open, so that we can bring in people and also send people outside. And that is what inspired us to bring out our post-COVID travel.
That's your business this afternoon, but I'm back in just about 15 minutes for the marketplace. Over to you, Ernest. Are you eager to travel anytime soon?
I want to travel now, but you know I have issues with safety. I'm still not sure that I will be safe anywhere I go. And so for now, I'm limiting myself to home and, you know, to the workplace. And in no time, I shall travel.
The world is changing. Trust the aviation industry to put all the safety protocols in place.
A very good survey by Adanse, putting the issue in real perspective. Thank you, Sandra. See you later at 1 p.m. for some more business news. You're watching News Today with me, Ernest. We're taking a break. When we return, we'll bring you more stories. Stay with us. We've got sports for you now. The man Oreku Ampofo has the details this afternoon, and Oreku joins us from home. Hello, Oreku. I know that COVID has given you know, time now for some people to move here and there, signing contract and all of that. Tell us more.
Yeah, we would come to that in terms of the European contracts. Today is actually the final day for clubs to ensure that they do tie their players down and, you know, get them to sign a deal that will see them at least complete the season. But one contract that has drawn a lot of interest from the local eyes, I would describe it as Nanaya Wamponsa, and he has taken a step closer to becoming the new CEO of Asante Kotoko. Remember, Nanaya was one of the losing candidates in the GFA presidential elections, which took place last year. And we'll be joined by Owusu Bempa of Insha FM in Kumasi as he provides us with the latest of that story. Owusu Bempa, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm Bobo.
Okay. Let me start off with this one. According to reports, what was suggested was that today the board of directors were going to meet with Nanaya Wamponsa and take a decision on what his future would be. What's the latest with that?
Yes, it's true that the board of directors are meeting Nanaya Wamponsa today in Accra this afternoon to hold talks with him about the possible of him becoming the chief executive officer of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Actually, this has been long coming. After the FA elections, Mr. George Efie was set to become the Kotoko CEO per Dr. Kwame Chey, then as the executive board chairman's recommendation. It seems George Efie was not so much available for the job. So his second option was to go in for Nanaya Wamponsa. So there had been meetings with Nanaya Wamponsa with Dr. Kwame Chey, and he proposed him to the Minister Chief of Staff, Mr. Kofi Bedu, who also agreed to meet Nanaya Wamponsa in some separate meetings. Those meetings have gone on, and what I pick is that he made a very, very good impression about himself to Mensha. And today, Mensha has ordered the board of directors to meet Nanaya Wamponsa personally as a group, so that they could find out whether indeed what they saw in him is what the board also will see in him, and probably go on to announce him as the chief executive officer of the new Kotoko management that is about to be formed.
Okay, we know that the meeting is taking place in Accra, but how about Kumasi? What's the reaction been like from the fans and, ex-Asante Kotoko footballers and, all these stakeholders? What are they saying about Nanaya?
I think the main issue has to do with whether indeed is the choice of the board or is a process that is being imposed on the board. I think that's the main issue that is being discussed around the stakeholders of Kumasi and Asante Kotoko. And Kotoko fans remember the days of Herbert Mensah being imposed on PV Obey's board, the days of Mr. Pokunti as the general manager. Then came the lawyer Dujenfi board being imposed on him. So the general feeling you could pick is that the stakeholders of the club are asking whether wouldn't Mensah allow the board hold their own meetings, propose their own policy direction, and look at and go on to appoint their own chief executive officer? Is it prudent again for Mensah to impose someone like Nana Yaramponsa on the board? And should they go on to appoint him, would there not be any conflict of wrestle of power as both will be coming from Mensah itself? That has been a general discussion. It has been a misfeeling, and everybody is waiting for the big news.
Okay, you did mention a conflict in the wrestle of power, but there's also been another conflict in the interest of especially the fans. And rumors has it that Nana Yaramponsa is actually a Hearts of Oak fan, and we know the rivalry between the two clubs. Does that really matter, and would that really affect him in his, plight to become the new CEO of Kotoko?
Yes. For a typical Kotoko fan, it will matter because it will then will bring some sort of unrest within the Kotoko supporters to know that the person who is in charge of their club as the CEO is a House of Oak fan. And I've seen a lot of House of Oak fans also trying to give evidence that yes, Nana Yaramponsa is a known House of Oak fan. So yes, there's an undertone to that discussion whether indeed Nana Yaramponsa is a House of Oak fan, and if indeed it's established that he is a House of Oak fan, Kotoko supporters don't seem to be too comfortable giving a House of Oak fan the chief executive officer job. But for the others who also think that, look, let's look at this competence and what he brings on board to the job. And if he can do it, we had Roman Abramovich get Peter Kenyon from Manchester United to become the chief executive officer of Chelsea Football Club. So it's all about competence and what he has to offer. And the board should be trusted to make the best decision in terms of his competence. And if he's good to go, why not? Let's give him the opportunity to turn the fortunes of the club.
Okay, quickly, Owusu, before you do leave us, I want your personal opinion on this. If Nana Yaramponsa is appointed, he will have a 3-year mandate to try and put Kotoko back in the light. What do you make of him? Do you think he can really do this?
I'm someone who wants to give people opportunity. I think it will be a very, very good opportunity for Nana Yaramponsa. Looking at his views and what he has in him to impact the football world. I think Kotoko will be a big step for him. You have the opportunity using a big club to make the statement that, look, I'm a big boy in the industry. I can affect the industry positively. And if is it that you think I'm not ready to be the FA president, I'll use Kotoko to make that statement for everyone to know. I think, yes, I would have looked for a more corporate person, someone who will come and look more into the corporate structure of Kumasi and Kotoko, have a lot of business strategies to raise money for the club, to do whatever the Mensah has asked the board and the club to go in the next phase. But if Nana Yaramponsa is being given the opportunity, I think it's a big step for him. We will have to support him to succeed. And it offers him the audition job for him to show the whole world what he can do at a big level. And Kotoko obviously is a bigger platform.
Okay, thank you very much, Owusu Bempah, for joining us. Yes, so that was Owusu Bempah of Insure FM, and he provided insight as to what the latest is with Nana Yaramponsa being linked with that CEO role. What he did mention is that the board of directors are currently meeting in Accra with Nana Yaramponsa to see whether he can be the man for the job. We'll be providing you with the latest updates of that meeting on all our social media handles as well as our online platform, and we'll be bringing you that as well on our later sports bulletin. But that wraps it up for the sports segment here. My name is Oreku Ampofo, and remember to stay safe.
Thank you very much, Oreku, for bringing us sport, and it's now time for news on the international front.